It was a chilly winter evening, and I was on my way to my cousin's wedding. The roads were almost deserted due to the ongoing pandemic. I'd been driving for hours, and the dense fog made it hard to see. To stay safe, I was wearing my mask, even in the car. As I drove, I noticed a small restaurant up ahead, and I decided to stop for a coffee and a bite to eat to refuel. Inside the restaurant, it was eerily empty, except for a young waitress who seemed to be the owner's daughter. I ordered a strong cappuccino, some cookies, a pie, and chicken legs. Just as I placed my order and took a seat, a tall, muscular cowboy in his 40s walked in. He ordered his food and chose to sit at my table, right across from me. I kept my mask on, but the cowboy's eyes were fixed on mine. It made me feel uncomfortable. After an awkward silence, he leaned in and asked why I was traveling during the pandemic. I explained it was for my cousin's wedding, and he responded with an unsettling compliment about my eyes, even saying they looked sexier with the mask on. I didn't know how to respond, so I mumbled a thank you and quickly got up, telling him I needed to make a call. As I sat in a corner seat pretending to call someone, the cowboy's gaze never left me. My anxiety was climbing, and I just wanted to finish my meal and leave. The food arrived, but I couldn't eat comfortably with the cowboy's unsettling presence. I ate as quickly as I could, then left the restaurant, feeling relieved to be away from him. I drove on for a few miles, but when I checked my rearview mirror, I saw a pickup truck following me. It was keeping a constant distance, and a sense of unease washed over me. I slowed down to see if it was just a coincidence, but when I recognized the cowboy behind the wheel, I knew something was seriously wrong. Calling 911 didn't even cross my mind at that moment. Instead, I decided to test if he was indeed following me. I made a sudden turn onto a desolate side road. As I glanced in my rearview mirror, there it was, the same pickup truck, still tailing me. Panic set in as I tried to come up with a plan to shake him off. I drove for a few more miles, my thoughts racing with fear. Then, I took another sharp turn onto a different wild road and floored the gas pedal. I eventually reached the highway again, keeping my speed high. Glancing back, I saw that the pickup truck was nowhere in sight. I had successfully managed to escape from that creepy cowboy. As I pulled up to my cousin's house, I couldn't shake the unease that had settled within me. I still questioned the motives of that stranger. Why did he follow me, and what did he want? The incident left me with an unsettling feeling. It was just a regular Friday night, and my friends and I had planned to have a movie night at the cinema. The much-anticipated Oppenheimer had just been released, and being a huge fan of Cillian Murphy, I was looking forward to it. But plans change, and that Friday night was no exception. Instead of a quiet movie night, my friends decided to go clubbing. It had been years since high school, and we wanted to relive some of those carefree days. Our group consisted of 6 people, including me, and since I lived nearby, I decided to walk to the club. 2 of our friends, Francis and Ivian, would be arriving late due to work commitments, and the others were afraid of losing their pay at the advertising company if the deadline was not met, which was Monday. As we entered the club, everything seemed normal. The place was alive with people dancing, drinking, and having a good time. Finding an empty table proved to be a bit of a challenge, but after a few attempts, we finally secured one. We settled in, enjoying our drinks and engaging in lighthearted chit-chat. The drinks started to flow, and it wasn't long before they began to take their toll. The night was off to a promising start. Francis and Ivian eventually arrived, their faces etched with exhaustion from their demanding work weeks. They joined us at the table, and we could tell they needed the drinks to unwind. As we all sat there, sipping our beverages, we couldn't help but notice a man in a hoodie who seemed to be in a particularly rough state. He appeared to be going through a tough time in his life, and his demeanor reflected his troubles. Ivian, always the empathetic one, started sharing a story about a challenging time in her life when she and I became friends. She recounted how I had helped her overcome her difficulties and turn a dark period into a cherished memory. My heart swelled with emotion as I listened to her story, and I decided that this was the moment to reveal my long-standing crush on her. However, nerves got the best of me, and I drowned my feelings in alcohol, all while trying to remain conscious. As the night progressed, Ivian's alcohol intake pushed her over the edge, and Francis took on the duty of getting her home safely. With their departure, I felt a sense of missed opportunity, and my mood soured. However, it wasn't just my missed chance with Ivian that bothered me. I couldn't shake the feeling that the hooded man from earlier was still lurking nearby. I began to feel uneasy. Deciding it was time to leave, I asked for the bill. As I glanced around the club, the hooded man was conspicuously absent. Relief washed over me, and I stepped out into the empty streets. The neighborhood around my apartment wasn't known for its safety, especially at night. But the alcohol in my system clouded my judgment, and I stumbled my way home. As I walked alone in the dimly lit streets, I heard heavy footsteps echoing behind me. At first, I brushed it off as my imagination playing tricks on me. But as I paused, the footsteps stopped as well. A chill ran down my spine. I turned to look, and there he was, the hooded man, standing in a dimly lit corner, calmly smoking a joint. The effects of the alcohol had intensified, making it hard to think clearly. I tried to dismiss the situation as paranoia, but the eerie feeling persisted. I started walking again, and once more, the heavy footsteps followed my every move. Panic set in, and I broke into a run, struggling to maintain my balance as I dashed towards my apartment. The sound of rapid, heavy footsteps behind me was undeniable. I reached my building, fumbled with the keys, and barely managed to lock the door behind me. I was safe inside, or so I thought. The next morning, I awoke feeling groggy and disoriented. As I got ready for the day, I decided to check the small CCTV camera footage I had installed outside my door. What I saw left me in shock. The man from the club, the one in the hoodie, had been sitting at my apartment door all night, calmly smoking. My heart raced, and a deep sense of dread washed over me. The experience was nothing short of terrifying. That night had started as a simple change of plans from a movie night to a club outing with friends. It ended with a haunting encounter with a stranger who had followed me home.